What's going on, good people? Thank you so much for joining. This is Seifu Tyler, and you are on the first episode of 10 Minute Tuesday, where it is a weekly conversation with me and someone that I decided to have a conversation with. The point of this is to talk to different people and connect with different people, and I'm so appreciative to have my bro on here for the first time, first episode, Tre Bates. So, with that, Tre, thanks for joining, man. I'll let you introduce yourself. Tre, tell us about something about yourself.
Yeah, no, pleasure to be here. I think this is awesome. Glad you're kicking this off and happy to be the first guest. But yeah, just to give a little bit of background about myself, my name is Tre Bates. Working with Lovelytics, as do you, obviously. But there I'm in the VP of Data Analytics Services. And yeah, I'm just really excited to have this conversation and kick things off.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks so much for joining, man. I really appreciate it. All right, so let's get into the fun stuff. So, introduce yourself. We know you're a VP, big rock star, great person that super smart. But let's hear some more about your journey. So, up to date, what has been your least favorite job that you've ever
Oh wow, coming out hot.
had?
I wonder if I should say. No, I probably shouldn't say the company,
Probably
right?
not.
But I mean, I guess I won't. I'll put it this way. So my first job out of college, generally it's not like your greatest job, right? You're coming in at an entry level, just trying to figure out your way, what you even want to do. But actually, my first job out of college, I worked in a company, large company, large firm, and they did really get me prepared for sort of the subsequent jobs I would take in this industry. So I'm grateful to them for that. Had a lot of sort of just basic consulting skills or foundational consulting skills sort of instilled for me in that job. So that was very awesome. But the thing about that first job out of college, and I mean maybe rightfully so, is that I didn't have a lot of opportunity to try some different things. So, when I was coming out of college, like many people, I kind of had an idea of, things that I wanted to do, but, you just don't know what's out there. And so, in order to figure that out, I think you really have to, dive into a lot of different things, get a variety of different experiences. And that's something that I didn't really have the opportunity to do with my first job. I was kind of, just thrown onto a role, onto a pseudo government project, and they didn't quite have a lot of room just for hey, if you want to go try this, you can go learn this skill set. I was kind of thrown into a role, and then was good at the role, but maybe kind of a victim of my own success, and I got pigeonholed into that role, and I was just like that guy on that project that did basically BI stuff, and
Yeah.
and then it's fine because obviously I gotten far in my BI career, and I enjoy it, but I was kind of just doing one thing in that job, and so when that got a little bit too boring, that's when I decided to move elsewhere. But all that to say is that it wasn't necessarily like a bad job, really. It's just that I was kind of bored with getting stuck and doing the same thing over and over, day in and day out.
Yeah.
So least favorite job, yeah, but it wasn't a bad job by any means.
Right. Got it. Got it. So with that, like, what compels you to even get into data to begin with? Like, how did you even start out? Like, hey, I want to be in data.
That's a that's I guess a long story, but to make it short, so when I initially went into college, I actually wanted to be an architect, and not a data architect, like a real deal architect, like building houses, designing houses, and whatnot. Like that was my thing. Like coming out of high school, I applied to Virginia Tech. They have a great architecture school, and unfortunately, wasn't able to get in on like the first initial pass. It was they actually only at that time I think they were accepting like 8 students a semester,
Oh
so
wow.
it's a really hard school to get into. But in any case, I very much like to build things, design things. That was kind of my thing as a kid. And then when as I grew up, I also, huge into technology, huge technologist. I just, love gadgets, tech, anything that comes out as new, I'm kind of just interested in it. So that kind of played a part as well. So anyway, going back to my college career, I had applied the architecture school, didn't get in, and then I was looking at maybe some other things to take some classes sort of within the area, so I could if I wanted to transfer in, I could without having to do a lot of catch up. So I was kind of taking some engineering classes, which would apply toward the architecture degree. And now as I started to take those, I got into some computer science classes, did a few, programming things, started, messing around with some data analytics in one particular project that I had. And that kind of led me to, I was like, wow, this is, kind of really cool. I like, working with this stuff, databases, I mean. And so, I took a few more classes in that area and I was like, you know what, maybe I should, just consider, working within, something within data. And luckily, Virginia Tech, the School of Business actually had a program, information technology program that I was able to check out. And I, sort of immediately loved it. And from there, I, worked my way through that program, learned a lot of different things, had to take a lot of different classes on statistics, databases, the old, sort of Irwin modeling, all
Yeah.
that good stuff. And ultimately, yeah, I kind of, got into a career that actually reflected my major. Cause I switched majors, actually a couple of times. But yeah, that's kind of what led me to getting into data, and yeah, I've kind of just been here since.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Awesome.
I just like I said, I just really like building, designing things, and sort of that. Even though it's not housing like I originally planned,
Yeah.
it still allows me to like scratch that itch, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I really love it.
Cool. What is one piece of advice you would give someone who's just starting out in this journey, in this data journey?
Um, I would say try as much as you can. There's within sort of this industry, analytics. Let's say there's so many different things that you can do. Whether it's working directly with data, whether it's being a dashboard designer, whether it's being a programmer, doing scripting. There's so many different sort of paths that you can take that I would just encourage someone to that's just getting into this industry to try a lot of different things, because you may go in with a mindset of like, hey, I'm going to be this, but then you end up working on maybe a different component, on a project, and you're like, man, I really enjoy doing ELT, ETL, data pipelines, like that kind of stuff. I've worked with a lot of younger folks over the years, and that's something that I see consistently is that they sort of start working and they think they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to be like this super awesome dashboard designer guy. And I'm like, oh yeah, man, go for it, do your thing. But they end up working on something else, and they're like, wow, I just really enjoy data profiling and trying to find patterns and doing that kind of stuff. And so that's what I really encourage, just like explore as many different sort of paths as you can within the industry, because you might find something that you like, better than what you sort of like you originally intended. So that's what I would recommend. Just try a
Hey,
lot of different things.
I love that. I love that. All right, in 60 seconds or less, big question. You talked about trying different things. What was your biggest failure in your career, and then what lesson did you get from that? So 60 seconds or less. Let's see if you can do it.
Oh man, biggest failure. So I had one project where basically, actually, it's funny. It's my first experience with Tableau, and I had come from a background in a different tool at the time. And basically, what happened was is that he's like, hey, we're supposed to be these BI experts. I'm trying to put on a front. I'm very early on in my career, that so hey, even though I may not know this tool sort of fully, I was like, I bet I can figure it out, right? It's another BI tool. How hard can it be? And so we had this like a billion row data set that we're trying to bring into Tableau. And I had made some assumptions about how Tableau could work from a data performance and dashboard perspective. And that was a huge mistake, because I quickly found out that, not all BI tools are the same, and you really have to design things differently, for different tools to take advantage of their engines and whatnot. So I had made some, or not necessarily promises, but like to the client at the time, I was like, hey, yeah, we're gonna be able to do all this in Tableau. It's not gonna be a big deal. Totally fine. And when push came to shove, I was like, man, this is totally different. We kind of had to like redesign what they were originally hoping for, and it was a lot of late nights and sleeping on the couch in the office to figure out how we could get this thing together to work for the client. So that was the tough one, but definitely learned a lot of lessons in that. Hey, don't always assume that things are going to work the same between tools, and just making sure that you're setting those client expectations as best as you possibly can, because that is one thing that if you're not doing that constantly, it'll come back to bite you.
Oh my God, yes, yes. We should have a part two just on that.
Right.
But man, thank you so much for joining, Trey. I appreciate you being on the first episode. That was incredible and amazing. So, where can listeners find you online? Do your plug, post your brand, do all that stuff.
Oh man, well, I don't have quite anything just yet, but I would say stay tuned. Thinking about kicking up a YouTube channel, and actually a daily sort of like, or not daily, but a blog as well, to just discuss different data topics within the industry. So I will reach out to you with some details on that soon, and yeah, maybe we can just push each other up on that.
Hey,
So
perfect. When you get it, I'll make sure to post it. Thanks again for joining. This was great. Thanks for everybody who watched 10 Minute Tuesday. We'll talk to y'all next week. Have a great one.